last 2 years have been a big turning point for us. The growth is there. We're opening a second location here in a few months. We're bringing on some more coaches
Whoa,
locally.
talk more. I think you just said that casually.
I did say it casually because it's one of those things. It's a matter of fact thing now. It's part of the
Yeah.
day. It's part of my daily routine. It's something we're working towards. I had my phone call this morning. We're opening a second location in Sinking Springs, out towards Reading.
Welcome to YMI Talking, a podcast where the guests are so good, you'll wonder why the host is even talking. In each episode, you will hear one of the leaders of the Lehigh Valley's vibrant business hub. They will tell you the keys to their success, the mistakes they've made, and what they have in store for the future. Here is the host of YMI Talking, from YMI Insurance, Jimmy Honachik.
All right, it is time for another episode of YMI Talking with me, Jimmy Honachik. But what is more important is my guest today. We've had great guests on. We've had people who put together cocktail events. We've had people who create wine. But we're leaving the sins behind in this episode and going towards something more wholesome that is better for you. We have Rob Eschbach coming in today. He is a gym owner of F13 Fitness in Allentown, and I am very excited to learn what I should be doing more of. So, Rob, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it and looking forward to this.
Awesome, Jimmy. Thanks for having me, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So talk to me. Let's start with F13. You give us the background. Let's hear how you got here.
Cool. It's a long road. F13 Performance actually came in. We rebranded to that 4 years ago. We opened up 9 years ago as a CrossFit gym here in West Allentown, PA. Started with CrossFit because it was an easy brand to tie to, had great brand recognition, low barrier of entry as a business owner as far as investment goes. And then we started the business that way, knowing we were going to move on to our own brand. So started that, ran that for 3 to 4 years, and then rebranded to what you see now as F13 Performance.
That's great. So you've got me thinking now. Gyms require a large capital investment up front, I would think. So does CrossFit help you with any of that? What is the business dynamic of kind of starting up your own gym?
Okay, so for a CrossFit style gym, you just pay CrossFit to use the name. It's a license model.
Yep.
They give you no assistance anywhere else.
Okay.
You're just using the brand name. So
Yep.
it's a great thing and a not so great thing for their brand, in my opinion. So it's really low barrier entry. Anybody can get into it as long as you have this real simple cert they require. You can start a gym business as long as you have the capital to buy the equipment.
Yeah.
What's not great about it is there's very little consistency and regulation on what you're doing within that gym space. So knowing that, we jumped in using that name to help get some brand recognition locally. Mm-hmm. And then as people got to know who we were, we separated ourselves from CrossFit just because myself as a professional, I didn't want to be associated with a brand that didn't have a ton of consistency and control of the product they delivered. That's just my personal opinion. The brand's doing great. There's some really, really good CrossFit gyms out there. I just want to do my own thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're doing well. I mean, what's the philosophy of F13? I mean, what made you kind of want to do it on your own?
Cool. Yeah. So my background, playing sports through high school, I started actually training people when I was 16 as a fitness specialist in a local gym in Fogelsville.
At 16?
At 16, a non-certified trainer, I was considered a fitness specialist. When some people came in, I taught them how to use the equipment, taught them how to squat right, just whatever basic knowledge I had at that time.
I won't tell you what I was doing at 16, but it wasn't nearly as ambitious as you were.
Yeah, I was one of those weird guys. I asked my parents for a gym membership instead of a car when I turned 16. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
It's funny. It's been a passion and a dream of mine ever since then. I said at that age, I was like, I'm going to own a gym. And it took, 15 years from that point until I actually did it. But I got there. So it has been my dream. It was my goal from a teenager on. So I stayed down that path. It's actually a really cool conversation I had with somebody not too long ago about us when we're younger. We have these dreams. Like I have a 7-year-old daughter who says she wants to be a teacher when she grows up.
Yeah.
So somewhere along life, I think people get derailed from their actual dreams just because that's what happens in the world. You make concessions and adjust and evolve and kind of do what you have to do instead of what you want to do. You get pulled away from that dream. I always had that in my mind that that's where I was going. So every choice I made and step I made throughout life was to get me to the end goal of where I ended up and where I'm at now.
I mean, that's a great point. Like, yes, I grew up dreaming of being an insurance agent, so I'm one of the rare exceptions. But truly, not many people follow the dreams all the way to the end. And I would imagine it must have been hard at times, right? Like that's the whole thing is pursuing the dream. You have to make sacrifices along the way. Was that the case for you, or did you kind of just luck into the whole gym thing?
No, so you make sacrifices along the way. We were talking earlier about I went to college for sport management, minor in exercise science and business, knowing the gym avenue. Fell into a really cool internship in Chicago after college. Lived there for 9 years, running events for it was Live Nation and then Clear Channel, Live Nation, and then NBC Sports. And then moved back to Pennsylvania for family purposes, and started getting back into the fitness world again, more full time and consistently. And the gym I was at, the owner was doing it as a side project, and he wasn't there long term. Didn't have the time or energy to put into it full time, so he lasted about 2 years, as most gyms do, and then he wanted to get out. So I was there. Yeah, he was selling, so I took over the lease and bought the equipment.
Wow. So that's how F13 kind of was born?
That was it. I was in the right place at the right time, I guess you could say.
Yeah, so you buy it, right? And now you're sitting on what sounds like equipment, but maybe not a super great base of clients. Like, what is your goal at that point then to grow that base of clients, to make it a business from someone who probably wasn't investing in it very much?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a phenomenal location. We're in Fogelsville on Route 100, right off 78. So right by some major arteries of traffic, some great location, very large space. If I was going to do it again, I would have started much smaller, but it worked out for us. And the membership base was almost non-existent, like 30 people maybe when I took it over.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was tough, but just consistency in branding, getting yourself out in the public, talking to people, shaking hands, meeting people, inviting people in, being open and welcoming to everybody and anybody who wants to experience fitness in some sort of way, helped us grow. And having some great members at the time, really talking to their friends and family and being out there. And at that time, it was mostly word of mouth. A few social media ads. I mean, this was 10 years ago, right before the big boom of social media, I think. So it worked out. It was at that time, and I still now to this day, not as much, but I still am kind of that grinder style business owner where like I just go and I go and I go until I succeed. Kind of thing, kind of chip away at it.
I'm the same way. Like you have to be persistent, I think.
Yeah.
But what is your pitch, right? When you have that small client base and you're trying to grow, I'm sure you're talking to people who are like, look, either A, I don't want to work out. It's not part of what I do. Or B, like, hey, I'm just going to join one of the large national chains and be done with it. Like, how do you get those two sets of demographics into your gym?
Right. So taking care of yourself and fitness and being active is 100% your choice. A lot of people will say, I don't have time. That is the number one excuse. You do have time. You just choose not to make the time. Don't care who you are or what you do. I have people that work night shifts, day shifts, 24-hour shifts, first responders, single parents of 4 kids. It doesn't matter. Like, if you really want to make time, there is time. I promise you. I'm sorry for all the people that lean into that excuse as much as possible.
Yep.
There's definitely time. So I let them know, hey, when you find time or when you want to make time, we're here. Come on in. It's free to try. We'll help you out. The people that want to join a big box gym, like Gold's or Planet Fitness or something like that.
Yeah.
When you walk in there, you swipe your membership card, and that's it. You're a number. That's a great business model. That's their model. That's why it's $10 a month. They want thousands of people to join. They want to see a couple hundred a day. When you come into my gym, I know your name. I know who your family is. I know when the last time you went out to eat is. I know what you drive. I know when you travel on vacation. I know your favorite vacation spot, your favorite foods. So I can train you and coach you as an individual and as a person, not just have you as a number or a membership within our building. And that's really the big difference to the small boutique-style gym industry and the large big box industry. So you come in, Jimmy, like, hey, I haven't worked out in 10 years. What do I do? Awesome. We're going to bring you in. We're going to take you through a basic movement assessment. We're going to get to know you, past activities, past injuries, what you're like right now in your daily life. Do you sit behind a desk for 12 hours a day, or are you active? And then we'll coach you accordingly.
And I'm not getting that at Gold's, for sure.
No. No, but hey, dude, what I always said, as long as you do something, I don't care what it is. Yeah. Yes, I have a gym, and I'm very partial to what we do. I put a lot of time and effort into creating our business and our methodologies, but do something. As long as you're active in some way, shape, or form, I don't care what it is. Just be active.
Yeah. No, that's true. But what I'm hearing from you, and it's funny. So I have a friend. She's an insurance agent up here in Stroudsburg, and she's also, big in the gym world, the independent small gym world. Like, she's belongs to one, and she tells me the number of referrals she gets from there is huge because it's such a community. Everyone knows each other. It's all this word of mouth. It's all these events that people go to, and it becomes almost a family of sorts. It sounds like the same model exists for you. So if someone's looking for a community or a way of staying active, that's a great way to do it, the independent gym way.
Yeah, 100%. So every gym's going to have their own community or own group of people that have personalities and work a certain way. You just got to find the one that you fit into. Mm-hmm. I've always said to people, like, there's so many of these small little boutique style gyms around. There's, boot campy gyms. There's gyms like ours. There's actual traditional CrossFit gyms. There's powerlifting gyms. There's, title boxing. There's so many of these small boutique gyms out there. Everyone has its own personality, its own feel. We definitely have our own personality, our own feel at our space. So you as an individual have this great pot to choose from.
Yeah.
Try them all and say, hey, the vibe here is what I'm looking for. Go to that. Mm-hmm.
How would you describe the F13 vibe?
Yeah, so we have a bunch, and I'd say most of our members, whether they're competitive or not competitive people, they're very, very hardworking. They're all very goal-oriented individuals. Now, that doesn't mean they're athletic and competitive people. They are goal-oriented, could be at home. They could be in their professional careers, but it could be in sport as well. So they come in. We don't do a lot of basic milestone celebration. Like, yeah, you made 100 classes today. Good job. You don't get a free T-shirt for that. A lot of places do that, which is awesome. Like, nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But we're not going to celebrate that because what we want to celebrate is the fact that you're getting results. That's your free T-shirt. That's your participation prize. Is your results that you're getting. Because if you show up, I guarantee you 100% you will get results. And that's how easy it is. It's a bold statement, and people call me out on it before. I'm like, no, if you show up, I guarantee it works. I've been doing this long enough. If you show up, this will work.
And the way we got connected, at least for this, was Garrett Lerner. And so you're talking about like competitive people. That guy, I know for a fact, whether it's his physical fitness or whether it's his professional life, he is that. And I know he gets results. So I have only one proof point, but it certainly points to F13 doing what it's supposed to.
Yeah, and that's what's great. We have people like Garrett who are former collegiate level athletes. He competed in an Ironman. This guy is very, very driven, and he follows one of our, we call it our hyper-focused track. What hyper-focused is, we meet you as an individual. We have a nice, very long consultation. We do a basic movement assessment. Then we do a testing week, and then we program for you individually based off everything you showed us and everything you told us and you get your workouts made just for you. We also have a track for people that just like, hey, I want to get really, really fit and stay healthy and be active. It's our Fit Focus track. That's more of a small group training where people come in, anywhere from 5 to 15 people work out together, doing similar workouts and kind of train together. But it's not made specifically with that individual in mind. It's made with the group in mind. Besides all that, we also have a sports performance track. That's straight athletes.
Gotcha. And you do a lot with athletes, right? I mean, given your background as an athlete, you were at Northwestern, playing sports at Northwestern?
Yep. Yeah, soccer and track, wrestled for a little bit. Went to states for track. I was somewhat fast, I guess, mediocrely fast, I guess you could say. So yeah, I was a solid athlete. I would not stand out, not Division I level athlete.
Yeah.
But I was a good athlete. But I was more into the fitness side of things, understanding fitness, understanding the body, understanding energy systems. I've always been a student of fitness and health and wellness.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'm still taking as many certifications and classes as I can just to continue my education with that.
Mm-hmm. And so you grew up in the Valley, and then you move out to a big city, right? You go out to Chicago.
Yeah. Yep.
But you find your way back. And I've had this conversation with a lot of guests. Like I myself went out to LA and New York, and yet here I am. There's something, at least now, that seems to be drawing people back in. What was it for you that brought you back to the Lehigh Valley?
Family, 100%. My goal, it's funny, my goal out of high school was to move as far away from here as possible.
Same.
I want to move, I want to get out, because it can, when you're younger, it feels a little claustrophobic because it's a small town feel. Everybody knows everybody. You have very little room to breathe.
Yep.
So I went to the furthest school I could in Pennsylvania with some keep state tuitions.
Yep.
And, go for college. So Slippery Rock was 3 exits from Ohio. And then from there, I took my last final on Friday. I moved to Chicago on Tuesday. I never came home. I just moved. And after being, away for a long time, family, we had some health issues with my parents, so I ended up coming home, helping them out, and got sucked back into the Valley. And now that I'm here, it's I have a wife, 2 kids. There's not a better place to raise a family, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I love it here.
Yeah, it's funny. You grow up not feeling stifled by that small town feel. But as you get older, those relationships that you build really become the foundation of who you are and who your family are. And it's something that becomes really important to you, actually.
Yeah, it's crazy. My best friend throughout high school and middle school, his name is Justin Smith. He's actually the owner of Old Homestead Golf Club, which we're having a golf tournament today. And he was the best man at my wedding. He's my child's godfather. Like, I've known him since I was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
So that's how the Valley is. We just build these lifelong friends and connections that we kind of evolve together.
Yep. Sorry, I'm writing that down. And so I one of the things that really struck me, you and I were talking beforehand, was in Chicago, your first job out of college. I thought it was, and maybe it's because I have 2 young boys, I thought it was the coolest job you could possibly have. Tell me what it was, and I guess tell everyone kind of what you did.
At the time, my first internship and then job out of college was with Clear Channel Motorsports. They have since sold time and time again the division, but I ran monster truck shows. So the monster truck shows you see in arenas and stadiums, was the event manager for those. So it was really cool. So if you've seen the one at PPL Center here locally, that's the same company. Some of the similar trucks, actually some of the same drivers are still driving those things around.
Really?
Yeah, it's really cool. That was a really cool community. That was a great job out of college. In your 20s, I traveled the country 40 weeks out of the year. Wow. I've seen 42 out of the 50 states because of it. Wow. It's been really cool. Yeah, that was a really cool experience for about 9 years. Got old. That's not something I would do as a father. It's not.
Right.
There are parents that make it work. They love it. They enjoy it. But it's just not what I saw myself doing long term.
Do you think the community that you saw there played any role in sort of how you've set up F13?
You know, I thought about that. I learned a lot when I was there, and because we traveled together, we were very, very close. So I've always had that personality, and I've always, family's not always blood. Families are people that you share common interests and themes with. So yeah, and that's how F13 runs. A lot of people getting together to have common goals and common interests and common themes and move forward together. So it's very similar.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, what is your favorite part of F13? If you had to pick one thing, I know there's a lot that goes into it, but what drives you? What makes you, when you wake up, gets you excited to go into F13?
It's funny. It's not my excitement. It's the excitement of the people that come in. We have members, like I have a lady I work with who walked in and has gone down 8 pant sizes since she's been with me. Like that's her goal. I have athletes that have come in and said, have want to go to the CrossFit Games, and they go to the CrossFit Games. We get them there. I have athletes that come in that I work with on a mindset program that I do. Former NFL players, and we go through this program, and watching their evolution and their successes and their excitement at the end of meetings and at the end of training sessions. That's what really, really drives me. Like I love fitness. I love doing it myself. I try to train as much as possible, but I'm not an athlete anymore. I'm a coach because the success of my athletes is more exciting to me than my own success.
That's great. I mean, it sounds like you really get, if not one-on-one, like you get someone who cares about your goals individually at F13 and really helps you achieve them. So it's not throwing everyone in one box. It's figuring out what drives that person.
100%. It's we're in the business of fitness, but we're more in the business of people.
Yeah,
that's where we're at. We want to help people. It's not, and we help people through our knowledge in fitness and health.
that's great. How many employees? Like you can't do all of that yourself, right?
No. There was a time I did. To start off, the first couple of years were very long days. But I have two great full-time employees, Casey Beaver and Peyton Bachman, who split responsibilities within the gym as well as coaching classes and individuals, and they're phenomenal. They have helped take the business from a moderately successful scraping by business to what we are now today. And the last 2 years have been a big turning point for us. The growth is there. We're opening a second location here in a few months. We're bringing on some more coaches locally.
Whoa, talk more. I think you just said that casually.
I did say it casually because it's one of those things. It's a matter of fact thing now. It's part of the day. It's part of my daily routine. It's something we're working towards. I had my phone call this morning. We're opening a second location in Sinking Springs, out towards Reading.
Okay.
We're waiting on some permits and some build out stuff right now.
And so the idea behind the second location, I mean, I'm guessing the philosophy is going to be the same, just reaching a different market.
Yeah, it's the same brand, same logo, same philosophy, same programming. The coaches that we have there are people I'm coaching now, so it's all homegrown. It's all so F13 Performance here in West Allentown and Fogelsville will be kind of headquarters,
right?
HQ. So that second location will open up here. Hopefully, wait on permit stuff. You know how that goes. 2 to 3 months.
That's great. You got to be excited.
We had some growth this past year. We have a gym actually in Arizona that follows our programming.
Get out.
We have a couple of gyms locally that are going to start following it as well. So the brand itself and our methodologies and our approach to fitness is it's taken off. It's doing really well. And that's just us leaning into and believing in what we do.
Right.
So, and it works.
And I think, I know on the insurance side, a lot of agents, they'll start their own shop and they do it so well, right? Like what they do, they're so good at. Like you were running the gym and you were so good at it. But to take it to the next level can be difficult and you have to hire to get there. But they're afraid of like handing that off. It sounds like you have a great way of training and building that philosophy into your trainers so that they can go on and keep doing what you wanted them to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my goal is when I brought on Casey and Peyton, I told both of them, like I told Peyton, I'm like, listen, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be in this location.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, I want you to run this location so I can go start another location.
Yeah.
And I told Casey the same thing. Cool. Peyton's going to stay here. I'm going to go over there. You're going to go over there. And we're going to start branching these things out. And that's how we're building from within. And it helps our employees not get stuck as well. I want them to grow. They came in with a entrepreneurial mindset as well. So I don't want them stuck as just people that work there. I want them to grow and have that opportunity so they can expand themselves.
Absolutely. So you've got the right people. What's the biggest challenge to growth? What holds you back from really being where you want to be?
Patience.
I'm the same way.
No, sometimes I can get a little overly aggressive and ahead of myself. So I'm doing much better with that now. Following timelines and being patient and, working well with third parties on to make things happen. Before it was, if something wasn't working right, I cut the cord and move on. Now It's like, all right, cool. We're gonna work through this and make sure it all goes well. But yeah, it
goes back to that competitive mindset, right? I mean, that's what drives you, is being competitive. And if there's things that are slowing you down, it's hard to have the patience and do what you need to.
Yeah, and that's something I've really learned over the last 2 years. It's got some new certifications through this company called Enlifted. It's story work, it's mindset work, and it's really helped me reframe the way I think and speak and look at things. So that's helped me so much as a business owner, and even 10 times more as a coach and as a parent. It's really, really transformed my approach to things. So it's been pretty cool.
So is the mind as important as the body at F13?
Oh, if the mind's not coming along for the ride, the body's not going to work.
Yeah.
That's how it works. I mean, you can tell your body, you can ask your body to do things a million times over, but if your head's not in it, it's tough.
Yeah.
Be aware of that. You have those days. Like, you have days where you're sitting in there in the gym, and I had it the other day where I'm trying to lift. I'm like, my mind was on, making phone calls for you, finding some things out, doing some research for the new business. And I'm like, all right, dude, I just need to, we're going to get on a cardio machine. We're going to ride a bike today instead of trying to lift some heavy weights, because it's just nuts. My mind wasn't there.
That's great. All right. So we are running low on time. Notch Modern Kitchen is one of our sponsors. They are awesome. And we like to kick it up a notch here. And so I ask all the guests, it's a long week. You've been pumping iron all week. You get to the end. Notch makes these awesome custom cocktails where you give them sort of what you want in it and then what kind of mood you're in, and they'll craft something up. What is Rob reaching for at the end of this week? What's he looking to wind down with?
It all depends on the week. I'm a big beer guy. I love a good hazy IPA this time of year, especially in the summer.
Yep.
I've had a few old fashions with you. So
yes, too many sometimes.
I'm an old fashioned guy. I'm actually going to the golf course next.
Yes.
So we're gonna have some nice cold beers on the golf course. Probably a couple IPAs, and just kind of enjoy the afternoon on the course.
That's great.
Yeah, that's cool. You guys are working with Notch. They're a great spot.
Yeah, they really are. Well, Rob, thank you so much for coming on. This was great. I have learned more about gyms. I need to do more activities myself, and I think you've inspired me. It's great what you guys are doing, the philosophy on kind of, custom tailoring it to each person's goals.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'd love to have you stop by. Hey, I have a full gym in the garage as well, so I'm only down the street, Jimmy.
That's true. All right, I'll have to hit you up. Awesome. Thanks so much again, Rob.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the YMI Talking podcast. If you enjoyed this and want to hear more content from amazing personalities in the Valley, please subscribe, leave a rating, and drop us a quick review.